Hello friends, have a good time. We are at your service with Shabnameh. Pay attention to what I am going to tell you. When one person is a media superpower, that is, with the help of the media, it has the ability to manage people and minds. It's true. It can also affect perception. It's true. Now one point. Now, if a media superpower reaches a point where others come to a consensus that we no longer want to accept your narrative. We do not want to accept your maximum narrative. In such a situation, at what point is it? Obviously, he is finished. I want to read a report for you from Global Times. The report mentioned this issue and said that America is at a point where other countries have come to the conclusion that we have moved towards a multipolar world. Next, America insists on seeing the world as unipolar and telling a unipolar narrative, and other countries do not want to be America's decision, narrative and discourse. That is, what you are understanding is wrong. And if we try to move forward based on this, we will be hit. Shall I give you an example of a country that does not want to surrender? France. Many friends expected this. For example, I say, Iran. Then they say, well, how much did it cost for the people of Iran? France. In France, go see what Macron said recently. They asked him about Taiwan. He said, Taiwan is different from Ukraine. We have gained experience, don't expect us to follow others in the case of Taiwan. We decide for ourselves that. How should we react? He is saying that, in Ukraine, what happened was that, you are destroying us. The numbers and statistics presented from Ukraine are very shocking. What in terms of the casualties they have given? What in terms of infrastructure destruction? What in similar cases? Many in European countries have now come to the conclusion that they should not have entered this game at all. The United States of America should have seen itself alone, to come to the conclusion not to enter into this tension. Because it can be scary. Now this is what he is referring to. He says, they went through its discourse and came to the conclusion that they do not want to submit to this is an escape from the truth, an escape from the fact that the superpower is declining. It helps him stay in a hangover and not understand that the world is changing. He should have a thought for the future of the world, and play his own role in the world ahead. Let's go read a report. Let us read the rest of the report. There are very important points in the report of Global Times, which said that the president of Brazil had a meeting with the American officials. Then he says, in this meeting, this person clearly said that America should refrain from encouraging and inciting war in Ukraine and stop destructive behavior. He says, this comment made by the president of Brazil has made many people in America angry with this person. In the way that the spokesperson of the Pentagon reacted in his comments and said that Brazil has practically become a pure follower of Chinese and Russian propaganda, and does not pay any attention to the facts. I will say one thing before that in parenthesis, he says, it is their advertising decision. I think that, no matter what your and I's political views are, let's think together, but regardless of all this, I think we all believe in this. By the way, the thing that does not exist in the East is the advertising machine. At all, it is America that has a very high power of advertising. America is the master of the media apparatus and the psychological operation apparatus. So, if America comes back and says that someone was captured by another propaganda, you should laugh at it. Which ads? The media is in your hands. The tool is in your hand. The platform of the social network is in your hands. You determine how perceptions are managed. So if Brazil is commenting against America, it does not mean that it is influenced by the ads of others. Because others in this world know how to advertise compared to America, their voice will not go anywhere. No. He is influenced by facts. He is forced to become aware and speak quickly. What is the point of this report? This report says that, in these comments, Brazil's president is trying to explain that Ukraine should go towards peace. He says, of course, the U.S. government misrepresents all the voices that promote peace, and he says, the main purpose of these is to promote anti-American agendas. About the leader of Iran too. The leader of Iran is among those who, first of all, emphasized and said, we are not supporting anyone here, and we consider it important to end it. What are the views in the media now? Be sure that now many people in the media, and under the influence of the media, believe that the Iranian government is a supporter of Russia. The leader of Iran quickly expressed his opinion. He said, "It must end. The media game is in such a way that it is narrated in this way." Very nicely said. He says, he narrates Brazil in this way, he narrates the rest in this way. He says, "No, look at these. They are pro-Russian, anti-American. What is anti-American? You must end the war. You have to finish it in Yemen. You have to finish it in Ukraine. In other parts of the world, you have to finish it." Now where is the point? This report is a separate issue at all. He says, the fact that Brazil raises these kinds of words shows that this country has put an independent way of thinking in its agenda. Where is that? It is in South America, America's backyard, as the largest country in South America. And as a developing power. Where is the problem? The problem is that America has lost its backyard, and he cannot command or forbid them. Then he says, the main issue here is that he himself has not yet come to this truth. Let me read it to you from the text. The main reason is that America is annoyed by Brazil and other Latin American countries. That is, Washington thinks that the said area is merely its backyard, and this region has no right to think or act independently. In addition, America is extremely disappointed that it could not isolate Russia in the international arena. Now, you imagine, a sports competition is being held. There is also an athlete, on whom everyone has counted a lot. Then some people were influenced by it and invested in it. In the event that, this servant of God is far from his peak days. Too far. That is, it will definitely be challenged in every arena. He tries very hard to prove that he is capable. However, the power it has and the grandeur it has, and that character that is in the mind, it helps that others will be defeated. America has lost this now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to say hello to the world without America. If we understand this truth, our thinkers will now be involved in bipolarities instead of. They should go, sit, talk about this in universities, and discuss about this. For the world without America, that the American tools have also become ineffective. Other countries have weight in it. What are their plans? And what do they want to do? America's decline is the most superficial and worrying part, to say. Because this failed, so he finally won this game after 44 years. Did we try to force his back to the ground? No. We tried hard to achieve things for our people. Let's reach some things for our country. It was a part of that independence. Is part of it supposed to be livelihood? Is it supposed to be the economy? Is it supposed to be people's pockets? Well, if these are to be. So you should think about this for the future of the world. The future of the world in which America has completely broken its hegemony. Let's go and check its continuation. He says that, in the current situation, we see that even Europe, America's closest ally, is seriously considering the war in Ukraine. And day by day, it distances itself from the mentioned war, and America's ambition, in its form. What is Europe anyway? Saudi Arabia also understood. Saudi Arabia has understood that the story has changed. If someone does not understand, he remains like a dead person who does not understand anything. Why? Because they cannot understand the truths of the world. And their minds are sterile from understanding the truths of the world. They cannot understand which direction the world is going. Let's go to check the rest of the report. He says, Europeans in Ukraine came to such a conclusion and concluded that they should distance themselves from America and its ambitious ideas. It must be said that, in this regard, America is exactly like wood that cannot support a shaky building. This is especially the case when a significant number of world powers have called for peace in the form of the Ukraine war, and they are. It has become more important and highlights the isolated position of the American government. I have 2 points. Look, we are still talking about the decline of America. It's true. It's a coincidence. A part of American thinkers believe that they can do it in 18 months. They say, if we can do it in another 18 months, then we can hope that this process, facing the decline of America, will turn in America's favor. That is the case of artificial intelligence. Look, you always see that they make a statement that, stop it for 6 months, sir. Let's stop progressing in the field of artificial intelligence for 6 months. Sir, you consider an elite, a person who has intelligence and is very special, uses it. Then, for example, The atom has split, it has done something strange. He left a strange invention on the table. These thinkers came and wrote letters in America and other places and said, we should join hands with artificial intelligence and its development all over the world, and stop progressing in this field for 6 months. Let's stop, and not work. This is what I mean. Look, if a thinker who had an invention come and write a letter and say, stop your activities in the field of artificial intelligence, from his own point of view, that means, for example, China says to it, okay, I will stop. Or, for example, Russia says, okay. At all, sir, you wrote a letter and said to stop. Is there a document to prove that someone listened to you? For example, if China says I stopped, what is your standard of measurement? How do you know that this activity has stopped in the field of artificial intelligence? Do you know what I want to say? I want to say that, they said things, that anyone in the world may be associated with them and stop their activities. These should be focused on in a more special way. And they hope to be able to do something in 18 months, then they will make some equations. To preserve themselves a little more. Some of the things they have in the world are going towards it, it's scary. But be patient, the story in the future will be amazing before the world. Let's go and check it together. He says a very strange thing in the rest of the report. He says that America did its best to prevent peace from happening in Ukraine. Rather, because he sees peace as equal to the recognition. Then he says, Ukraine is acting exactly like America's toy in this battle. This is very scary. That many people have reached it is very scary. 6 to 7 months ago, we were saying that many politicians in European countries came to the conclusion that they are America's front line and America's victim. They must distance themselves from this situation. It was proven after 6 months. Now Macron says the same thing when he talks about this war. He says, sir, based on what we understand, we should no longer play behind America in Taiwan. Do you know what I mean by this? Look, now they are saying that Ukraine is America's toy in this matter, it is America's tool. What we used to say, the simpler translation is, you had a country with 1,750 atomic bombs. If you had one of them, the situation would not be like this now. You went and played in America. Your supporters of the West have become valid, you said, very good. Now that the supporters of the good West that I have are so cheerful, and they are doing well in front of the camera, he smiles. The media is with these, and now the media makes them look beautiful to me. Now that I have such Western supporters, I will make a move. In the path of their politics, I will move forward, the society also joined. To disarm the country, the supporters of the West came forward again. The country was involved in 1001 crises and misfortunes. Supporters of the West became more credible again. They hoped America would do something for them. They came further, the country reached a celebrity clown, and they came forward, and the country was involved in a war crisis after that. Now everyone says, these are all America's. Although the US still has the capacity to lead some power blocks, or NATO organizations, into a united front. However, of course, that he is privileged. He wants to continue to know that this privilege does not help him. In statistics, we reach the same. They recently sent a huge amount of weapons to Ukraine. Then a report was published, saying, what we are sending cannot help him much. It does not have much effect on the battle scene. Very scary. $200 billion have been charged to Ukraine in the military field. Now you are sending weapons, he says, it won't happen anymore. Now, you are totally careless. It is a disaster. Let's go further. He says that he has lost his capacity to lead the world. He still has some weight and power on some organizations, such as NATO and power blocks. He can manage. However, the gap in the front of his allies is also increasing day by day. I'm saying the same NATO that I have in that difference. In this regard, we saw that recently, French President Macron criticized the United States. And in the future, a wider range of countries will take similar measures. Sir, this is the point I told you. Sometimes when we sit and talk together, some friends may say that, sir, we are having a good time sitting down, let's say something together and have fun. Believe me, this is not the case. We have been saying this in our reports for several months now a non-Iranian media is saying this. Global Times, exactly what we said. He says, what Macron said was anti-American. Be sure that soon everyone will say it. And he is telling the truth. And I will add a sentence to it, it is irrelevant, but this sentence will remain in my heart, if I don't say it. Soon, people who you can't imagine will come to Iran's side. Let's go further. Let's check its continuation. He goes on to say that a wide range of countries will soon say the same. America should know that global problems and challenges cannot be solved by the leadership of only one power bloc or NATO organization. This is so scary. What he is saying is a lot. See, once upon a time, you challenged a country with NATO. You would change the equations. He says, you can't do anything with this now. That is, this is also ineffective. If Washington hopes that all countries in the world will support and follow its actions and policies in the form of the Ukraine war, it must be said that this issue shows a kind of baseless thinking in the multipolar world. You are acting irrationally. Based on what? Based on that, he still thinks that the world is unipolar, and you put the first and last words there. We should think about Iran's future in the post-American world that we have entered. Plan. Those who are thinkers, those who have opinions, sit down and think. Sir, America is declining. America has reached the bottom. What the leader of Iran said. We sit down and say, hooray. What a good thing. Did you see how involved he was with us? Sir, what do you want to do tomorrow? The leader of Iran is warning that until it reaches this point. What do you want to do tomorrow? I hope these flips are taken seriously. And the future, as we imagine, belongs to Iran and the axis of resistance. And this idea will soon show itself in the world, in our region. I think that's enough. I don't have any other points. If you have any points, please send them in the form of a message. It will help this report to be more complete with your message. Dear friends, I am very sincere. I have a lot of devotion. Have a good time.